Welcome to my football channel once again. This is Oscar Nzinzi Football. Thank you for stopping by. And in this episode, we are diving through and learning the 5 things we learned from the Mamelodi Sundowns game versus Eros and Orlando Pirates going down to Gqeberha versus CHIPPA United. Now, these are the 5 things I learned from the first game, which was Sundowns hosting Abafana Bestende at Lucas Moripe Stadium. Now, numero uno. The first point has got absolutely nothing to do with how Sundowns played or how Eros played, but everything to do with the DSTV sponsorship deal to the Premiership. I think this deal is absolutely ridiculous. Now, I'm saying this because of the kickoff time. How do you play midweek? It's not a holiday. 5 p.m. game when majority of the people who watch this league and follow this league, which are Black South Africans, are knocking off from wherever they're working. How then do you start a game at that hour? It is clear. On a Tuesday, there were 2 games. It was the Sundowns game, which was starting at 5 p.m. and the second game was going to be Orlando Pirates hosting CHIPPA United. Banter aside, let's just face facts here. I don't think that Pirates would have played at 5 p.m. and Mamelodi Sundowns at 7:30. No ways. Now, I don't know. You tell me. What has DSTV improved ever since taking over as a sponsorship on this league, taking over from Absa Bank? What have they improved? Because the prize money is still 15 million rands. Nothing has changed there. Whatever, after every 8 games, teams would win, forgot the term now they use, would win a certain amount for leading after those 8 games, I think 1.8 or 2 million rands. Nothing has literally changed from how Absa used to do things. Now, I honestly think that DSTV is the worst deal because all they want is bums in front of the tellies or bums sitting at home and watching games from whatever device, whether it's TV or streaming on your laptop or cell phones. That's all they want. This DSTV deal and sponsorship deal is really against fans going to the stadium. I'm honestly against a 5 p.m. kickoff time on a midweek. It's not a holiday. It's people are at work at 5 p.m. People are at work. So that's the first thing that really irritates me about the administration, the marketing, the advertising of how this league, is handled. Hence, I think that we need new brains to lead this league. First point, it's done. I know it was a bit of a rant, but the second point is here. Mamelodi Sundowns, Eros, you could really tell from how these teams are playing the ambitions of the 2 clubs. One, they want to dominate Africa, and then in the ambition wanting to dominate Africa, the byproduct of that is that they have to dominate their domestic league. And this is seen in how they are playing and how they are recruiting players, buying players, versus an Eros whose ambition appears to be survival. Just ensure that you stay in the league, ensure that you attempt to make the top 8 every season. There appears to be no ambition whatsoever from the Madlalas, the Eros, to challenge for the league or to challenge for top honors in this league. So the gap between Sundowns and the smaller teams is huge, extremely huge. That was the second thing I learned from this game. Now, the third thing I learned from this game was the advantage that Urano Mukwena is employing with this new system. You'll notice that we've got a lot of players we thought or we see as center backs. There's a lot of them. You've got the AB, the Moroccan guy. You've got Gran Kekana. you've got Mvala, you've got big boys, the big boys. Now the advantage with this system is that we will always pose a threat when we've got set pieces. And on this particular game, we really unsettled. We made errors uncomfortable whenever we had set pieces. And this is what I've been complaining about Sundowns in previous games, that we've been extremely poor in taking our set pieces. And credit now goes to the new boy, Michael Loftman, one of the assistants. So that was the third thing I learned from this game, that the number of big boys we have who are also good at playing the ball, when we have set pieces, we pose a threat to the opponent and we can actually defend better because we've got many big boys. So that was the third thing. The fourth thing we learned, from this game is that Sundowns, they know how to win the league. They know how to just divide the group of games, and they've got targets for every 5 games. Now, the first 5 games, already 3 are gone. And the 4th one, I believe we are playing CHIPPA United, and game number 5 will probably Richards Bay. So they've got 3 out of 3. It's 9 games already. They just know how to be consistent. And it's not about perfection when you're starting out, but it's about consistently getting the result. And getting the result for Mamelodi Sundowns is getting the 3 points. Other things will follow. Perfecting the system will follow. Perfecting how we play the schemes will follow. But it's all about getting the result. And getting the result, the target is always getting the 3 points. And I see no difference when going to the weekend playing against CHIPPA United. They will definitely win that game. And number 5, which is the last point I learned from this game, is Rivaldo. Rivaldo is a special piece and is a special puzzle for a Rulani Mokoena. This is a special player. We are all praying, as Mamelodi Sundowns fan, for this guy to stay healthy. He knows how to slow the game. He knows how to connect Mokoena, to connect Enalende. He knows how to defend. He knows how to give that pass, to launch that javelin pass to Nku, to a Mashiko, to whoever is playing whoever is on the white flank. Rivaldo is a special player, and at Sundowns, you ought to know how to play more than one position. Rivaldo came to Sundowns as a center back. He was converted to a libero. He now plays. He can play as an 8. He can play as a 6. He can play wherever you want him. He will give you something. So, on the new system that Rulani Mokoena is employing, Rivaldo is a special puzzle in accomplishing it perfectly. Now, the second game, Orlando Pirates went down to Gqeberha to play against CHIPPA United. Now they went down after thrashing Sekhukhune United 5-0. Obviously, they went down there with beaming in confidence, and but Morgan had other plans. He had other plans, and on this particular game, the one thing that we should give Morgan credit is the fact that he knew how to neutralize Orlando Pirates. Well, in the first half, it was not the case. But the second half, he literally changed everything with the introduction of the 3 players. Literally didn't defend or sit back, but went for it. Because he was a home team, he went for it. No, so we need to give credit to this guy. He might be coaching with a birth certificate or plumber certificate, whatever. But the guy knows how to play or set up against a big team. Number 2, Jose Rivero. If he wants to catch up to Mamelodi Sundowns, he must learn one thing, and that is you cannot be changing the first 11 a lot. Play with the first 11 as much as you can. Even if you start with the normal 11 and you've got plans to rest some, then you can rest them in the second half. Let them play for that 55 minutes, 60 minutes or 45 minutes and then pull them out. And this thing of converting a Dion Hoto to a fullback, it's not his natural position. He will never be a Mayela. He will never be a Paseko Mako. I believe that starting a Hoto in place of Paseka Mako is a big no. It's a big no, personally. And but what's more important is for Jose Rivera to crack that code of being consistent. Because if you're losing points against smaller teams, then Sundowns, you will never catch them. That's the difference with Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates. When Sundowns plays small teams, they ensure that they destroy them, they kill them, they collect the maximum 3 points. When Orlando Pirates plays a smaller team, it might be a draw, it might be a lose. So in that way, you can't challenge for the DStv Premiership or challenge Mamelodi Sundowns if you cannot crack down on your consistency code. Number 3, the third thing we learn from this game is that, again, I go back to all Mamelodi Sundowns because they've been the one who've been doing this. If Mamelodi Sundowns owns a player, one thing they will always do when the player is crying out for game time and they loan out the player to another DStv Premiership side, there will always be a clause, in most cases, there'll always be a clause that that player cannot play against its mother club. Now, when Pirates played against CHIPPA United, they allowed Goodman Nosele to play. Probably Pirates have to rethink on this clause because there are players who are playing, who've been loaned out, their loanees. They will punish them. They will punish them. Mamelodi Sundowns does not fool around when it comes to these clauses. I know it's not every player, but majority of the players, I know they don't play against Mamelodi Sundowns when they've been loaned out. The player who punished Orlando Pirates Wednesday night was their player, or Tuesday night rather, was their player, Goodman Mesele. He had a sterling game, a brilliant game, and he is the one who even equalized to leave the game at 1-1. Now, these are some of the things that were I learned from this game, and one more thing is that the last thing I learned from this game was that if CHIPPA Mpengesi can give Morgan probably 3 or 4 more quality players, experienced players, one in the striking department, one in the middle, probably another number 10, and maybe another one full back, then CHIPPA United will be a side that will not be fighting for relegation every season, but a side that might be fighting for a top 8 finish, because that's the thing with CHIPPA United. Every year we know that they'll always be fighting for relegation, fighting for relegation. So if CHIPPA Mpengesi, number 1, can give Morgan confidence that he is fully in charge, give him 4 or 3 quality players, and ensure that he makes Morgan know that he will not be fired. At least give Morgan a good first 15 games and see where we can get. I mean, he hasn't lost. It's 3 games played and 3 draws. Well, thank you for stopping by. This was Oscar Nsinsi Football. 5 things I learned from the 2 games. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please do like this channel. Give me a comment on some of the elements or factors you've seen on the 2 games. Do share the content with your friends, family, and your enemies. And please do give me feedback on how I can improve the content. And as I'm going along, I'm trying by all means to improve from the previous videos. Thank you so much, folks, and God bless.